In considering the future legal challenges for the EU, it is important to note that the legal and institutional foundations that are necessary to achieve the integration of EU law with the legal systems of the member states are well established. The Court of Justice is independent and well respected. So what are the challenges for the future of legal integration and the Court of Justice? In truth, they are the same as they have been for many years. As the EU has grown from 6 to 27 member states and evolved its policies from the relatively simple matter of forming a single market to much more complex and far-reaching policies, the court has been faced with more and more difficult questions. But that is in fact the role of the court, to resolve legal disputes and to ensure that the rule of law is observed. One perennial challenge is to achieve true uniformity of EU law throughout the European Union. There is considerable variation in the adoption and implementation of EU law by different member states. Some are willing and efficient, some are laggards. For a number of reasons, there is also considerable variation in the application of EU law by the different national courts. This can be the result of ambiguity in a judgment of the court, or as a result of linguistic imprecision due to translation from one language or from one legal culture to another. Some national courts are scrupulous in referring a question of EU law that arises before them to the Court of Justice and then applying the answer appropriately when they receive it from the Court of Justice. This leads to better understanding of EU legal principles by judges and lawyers, and better implementation of EU law in those member states. Other member states only rarely refer questions to the Court of Justice, so the degree of integration is less, and the desired collegial relationship between the EU courts and the national courts never develops. Lawyers may also be less well trained and experienced in EU law, and so less able to assert their clients' EU legal rights before the courts. Although the Commission plays a critical role in ensuring EU law is uniformly applied throughout the EU, private parties must also insist on their rights in their national courts, and those national courts must correctly apply EU law. Otherwise, the ideal of a single system of EU law uniformly applied cannot be achieved in practice. In short, the challenges of legal integration haven't changed, but the Court of Justice has the power it needs to keep the process advancing as the EU evolves.